So Starfield is going a little bit old school with its RPG depth and customization, and this is going to start at character creation with backgrounds and traits. So in this video, I wanted to go over all of the backgrounds and traits we currently have information for. And this starts off at backgrounds, and backgrounds are going to be the story of your character's life up until the point you start to play. And backgrounds are going to include a small background explanation, so say if you're a chef or you're a combat medic, but this is also going to include 3 starting skills, so this is going to be very important when creating or planning out the build you're trying to create. Now the background you choose won't exclude you from much content, but it will open up some new background specific dialogue options, and there may be a small amount of quests that are built around the specific background you choose. And also I'll have a link in the description to the website I used that compiled all of this information, and keep in mind we don't have the information for all of the backgrounds, so a lot of these are gonna be empty. So starting on the list, we have Beast Hunter, which we don't have any information for, but this would have something to do with you being a hunter. We have Bouncer, which would obviously be you having a history of being a bouncer for say maybe a nightclub. And then we have Bounty Hunter, which we don't have any information for as well, but this is one of the backgrounds I'm much more interested in. And if you're somebody that wants to play as a bounty hunter, it seems like they have you covered. But then we have some backgrounds that we actually have some information for. So first off, we have a chef. While the unrefined masses scarf down chunks by the shipload, you cater to those with a more discerning palate. In your kitchen, countless alien species become true culinary masterpieces. And the skills the chef background comes with is gastronomy, which gives you the ability to create new recipes and use higher level ingredients to craft food and drinks. We have dueling, which increases damage dealt and range with melee weapons. And then we have scavenging, which we don't have confirmed information on, but people think this is going to increase the quality or quantity of found items or resources. And next up, we have combat medic. Leave it to human beings to fight over something as infinite as outer space. That's where you come in. You've never been afraid to take on the enemy, but you'd much rather take care of your friends. And combat medic comes with pistol certification, which increases the damage and range with laser pistols. It comes with medicine, which increases the effectiveness of healing with med packs. And it comes with wellness, which we don't have all the information on, but the unconfirmed information is stamina affecting the level of health and its recovery. But we do know rank 1 immediately gives you 30 points of health, so you'd be a bit more tanky. And then we have a Cyber Runner. From Neon to New Atlantis, the Megacorps stand as monuments to power, prestige, and profit. You've worked both for and against them on the inside and out, often sacrificing conscience for credits. And Cyber Runner comes with stealth, and the unconfirmed information is this will increase damage dealt and chance to hit while sneak attacking. It comes with security, which will increase your ability to pick lock. And then it comes with theft, which the unconfirmed information is this will increase the chance of a successful theft and the quality of stolen items. So this is pretty much all about being a stealthy criminal. And then next up, we have cyberneticist. Robots, mere toys. Neuroamps, good for parlor tricks. The colony war may have made implants and upgrades available to veterans, but you once saw a greater future. Humans and machines as one. And this background comes with medicine, increases the effectiveness of healing with med packs. It comes with security, which improves your ability to pick locks. And then it comes with lasers, which increases the damage dealt and range with laser weapons. And then we have diplomat. The wars are over. Peace now reigns in the settled systems, but only because there are those quietly fighting to keep it. Because of you, agreements were signed, words were heeded, lives were spared. And the skills that come with this are persuasion, gives you more argument power during conversations, increasing your persuasiveness. We have commerce. The unconfirmed information is this will enable trade and will give access to the commodity exchange. And then wellness, with the unconfirmed information being stamina affecting the level of health and its recovery. And the rank 1 of this will just instantly give you 30 points of health. And the last background we have information for is Explorer. They said exploration is a lost art. You didn't listen. As the major factions argued over the space they desperately tried to control, you were busy uncovering the wonders of the settled systems. And the skills that come with this are lasers, increased damage dealt and range with laser weapons. Astrodynamics, the unconfirmed information, is increases the range and speed of your spaceship. And then surveying, with the unconfirmed information that it improves scanning quality. So if you're somebody that just wants to be out there on your ship exploring all these different planets, Explorer is definitely going to be a background you should look into. And even though that's all the information we have for backgrounds at this point, there are still a bunch more backgrounds that you'll be able to choose from. We have Gangster, Homesteader, Industrialist, Long Hauler, Pilgrim, Professor, Ronin, and then 4 unknown backgrounds that we don't even know the name of. And I think some of the backgrounds that we don't have information of are some of the most interesting ones, especially something like Ronin or Bounty Hunter. And then the other side of this are traits, and traits are a bit different from backgrounds because you do have to choose one background, but you don't have to choose any traits, but you can choose up to 3 traits. Now, traits are going to give you an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. So they're going to be a kind of kiss-curse mechanic. And even if you choose traits, there are going to be ways in-game to remove them. And we don't actually know what removing these are going to entail, but we kind of got to tease out one of them, where with the hero worship trait, where you have your biggest fan, you can kill off your biggest fan, and that would remove the trait. And I think we have a lot more information on these than we did with backgrounds. So first off, we have alien DNA. You volunteered for a controversial experiment that combines alien and human DNA. As a result, you start with a higher health pool and greater endurance, but healing items aren't as effective. Now, something to note with this is we don't think they're talking about intelligent alien species when they're talking about this. It's much more likely that this is talking about alien creatures. But this gives you 2 advantages. One increases your health pool, one increases your endurance, and your disadvantage is med packs heal you less. So if you want to be much more tanky and you're fine with requiring more resources to heal, this is the trade for you. Then next up, we have Dream Home. You own a luxurious, customizable house on a peaceful planet. Unfortunately, it comes with a 50,000 credit mortgage with Gal Bank that has to be paid weekly. And we're not actually sure if this is just some house, maybe in some city or something, or if this is going to be like a pre-built house that you're able to build an outpost around it. But either way, pretty interesting. And the disadvantage is you have to pay a weekly fee until you pay it off in full. So choosing this, you start the game with a ton of debt. And then next up, we have Empath. You are deeply connected to the feelings of others. Performing actions your companions like will result in a temporary increase in combat effectiveness, but performing actions that they don't like will have the precise opposite effect. So the advantage is you are stronger in combat when companions like an action you committed, but the disadvantage is you're weaker if they don't approve of something you did. So if you're choosing this trait, you really have to pay attention to what the companions you have are gonna like or dislike. And then we have Extrovert. You're a people person. Exerting yourself uses less oxygen when adventuring with human companions, but more when adventuring alone. And this trait can't be combined with the Introvert trait. The advantage is you use less oxygen when traveling with a companion, and then the disadvantage is you use more oxygen when traveling alone. And something else to note with this is this seems to be specifically when you're out adventuring and you have a companion with you on that adventure. These type of traits don't seem to have any interaction with crew that you have assigned to your ships or your outposts. And then we have Freestar Collective Settler, and this is a faction allegiance trait, which means this won't be able to be combined with any other faction allegiance trait. You gain access to special Freestar Collective dialogue options and better rewards from some missions given by that faction. But crime bounties toward other factions is greatly increased. So you get more dialogue options with the Freestar Collective, you get better rewards from their missions, but if you're committing crimes against other factions, that's going to give you a higher bounty. Then we have what's probably going to be one of the most popular traits is Hero Worship. You've earned the attention of an annoying, adoring fan who will show up randomly and jabber at you incessantly. On the plus side, he'll join your ship's crew and give you gifts. And the funniest thing about this trait is that the disadvantage is just that he's annoying, but you get a new crew member and he brings you gifts. So I'm wondering what kind of gifts you're actually going to be getting and if those are actually going to be worthwhile. But then next up we have introvert, and you can't combine this with extrovert. You really need your alone time. Exerting yourself uses less oxygen when adventuring alone, but more when adventuring with other human companions. So you use less oxygen when alone and more oxygen when with a companion. And like with the other traits similar to this, I don't think this is going to have an effect on members that you have, on crew members that you have assigned to your ships or your outposts. I think this is specifically when you have a companion assigned to follow you around. And then we have another one of the most interesting traits that's probably going to be one of the most popular is kid stuff. Your parents are alive and well, and you can visit them at their home, but you will automatically send 2% of your credit home to them every week. So choosing this, you actually have parents that you can go to their house and you can visit them, but 2% of all credits you earn go to them on a weekly basis. And we did actually get some more information on this on the recent developer Q&A, which I went over on my last video, and the developers seem pretty excited with this specific trait, and your parents do actually have looks based upon what you choose your character to look like, and the developers did also say that the voice actors they got for this were really good in these roles. Then next up we have a Neon Street Rat. This is another faction allegiance trait, so it can't be combined with any others, and you grew up on the mean streets of Neon. You gain access to special dialogue options and better rewards from some missions on Neon, but crime bounty from other factions is greatly increased. So new dialogue options, better rewards from some missions, specifically when in the city of Neon, but higher crime bounties for other factions. And this one's a little bit more interesting because even though this is a faction trait, Neon is specifically a city, and this only affects emissions within Neon. So the other faction allegiance traits seem to be whole factions that'll be on a bunch of different planets. So this one is a lot more specialized, but I think the reason they're probably doing this is that Neon is probably going to be one of the most interesting places in the game. And then next up, we have 3 religion traits. And just like the faction traits, you can't combine any of these religious traits. Well, first off, we have Raised Enlightened. You grew up as a member of the Enlightened. You gain access to a special chest full of items in the House of the Enlightened in New Atlantis, but lose access to the Sanctum Universum chest. So you just get a bunch of free items, and I'm assuming this is probably going to be some type of maybe full clothing set or something like that. And then we have Raised Universal, which again you can't combine with any of the other religious traits. You grew up as a member of the Sanctum Universum. You gain access to a special chest full of items in the Sanctum Universum in New Atlantis, but lose access to the House of the Enlightened chest. But then we have Serpent's Embrace. You grew up worshiping the Great Serpent. Grav jumping provides a temporary boost to health and endurance, but health and endurance are lowered if you don't continue jumping regularly, like an addiction. So this one's a bit more unique of a religious trait, but you still can't combine it with any of the other religious traits. And this trait is fully based off of the origin of this religion, which was recently gone over in that developer Q&A that I went over in my last video. So it's pretty interesting in terms of that, but this is definitely something you're going to have to keep track of because you definitely don't want to be losing max health and endurance by not grav jumping on a regular enough basis. And then next up we have Spaced. Your body has become acclimated to space. Health and endurance are increased when in space, but decreased when on the surface. And this can't be combined with terra firma. So more health endurance when in space, less when on the surface of a planet. Then we have Taskmaster, which you don't have any information on, but the unconfirmed information is improves outposts and mining management capabilities. But then we have terra firma, and this can't be combined with space. Your body is used to being on the ground. Health and endurance are increased when on the surface, but decreased when in space. So the exact opposite of Spaced. So depending on what you're going to want to spend more time on, you may want to choose one of these, but it generally does seem like terra firma is probably going to be better overall. And then we have United Colonies Native, which is another faction allegiance trait. Now we don't have any confirmed information on this, but as it's another faction allegiance trait, and we already have the trait for Freestar Collective, this is probably going to be the exact same thing as the Freestar Collective, just for the United Colonies faction. So more dialogue options, better rewards from their quests, and increased crime bounty towards the other factions. Then we have Unwanted Hero. Again, no information available, but the unconfirmed information is you don't belong to any faction. But with that, we don't know what the advantages and disadvantages of this would be. And then finally, we have Wanted. You deal increased damage at low life, but bounty hunters may sometimes appear to attack you without warning. And the way I look at it, Wanted is actually two buffs. You deal more damage when at low life, but also bounty hunters will randomly show up to deliver their loot directly to you. I think this is actually the best in-slot trait in the game. It's just two buffs. It's really strong compared to all the others. So that's all the information we have on both backgrounds and traits. And remember, these are both things that you choose at character creation. You choose these before you really start playing the game. And I really like this that they're going much more into the role-playing and build creation aspect, going much more in depth with their RPG mechanics. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.